Well. Hello, America, FBI and CIA agents. Finally, welcome to Culture Club USA Live. I am DiBRAVA. Thank you for your patience. I cannot thank you enough. First of all, can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Let me know if everything is happening and you can hear me okay. I'm just checking the chat to see if everything is... Yes, you do. Okay, the Walrus is here. Queen Vlogs. Hello. Drew, Brandon, Tyrants Beware, Nate the Great. I cannot thank you enough. Nikki, my mods, Nikki and Drew, my God. How do I thank you for your patience? Darius is also in the chat. Thank you so much. Loud and clear. Okay. No nonsense today. First of all, YouTube does not like me. Okay? I don't even care. Obviously, who knows if they're... I mean, it's like one thing after the next. I mean, when you're getting, like, you know, penalized for your own content, like intro music that I wrote. I don't know, Tyrants, they might flag me for your song next, which is coming up on this out. Okay, now, guys... This is a very interesting show. I'm glad you guys stuck around. Thank you so much. Better dead than red. Boy, you were hanging in here. We have Jesse Meeks. Hello, my friend. Thank you for coming in. Guys, this is an absolute crazy story. Now, you know I call him the chef, okay? But we have Cerberus the Chef, who some of you know, okay, from our chats, who has the absolute wildest story that I've ever heard in real life. Okay? You want to talk about a relationship disaster? Well, you're about to hear it. Now, this man is a very interesting being. Army veteran, 11-year career, okay? Did a tour in Afghanistan, Iraq, I think twice. 101st Airborne. He then became a contractor for the military, okay? Now, just so you all know that he isn't some weirdo, he was also married for 9 years. But we know how that works sometimes when you're married and you go into the military, right? Then he became a bail bondsman, and this is where it all began. So, before I go any further, I'm going to bring in the chef so we can tell his story. Welcome to Culture Club USA, my friend. You're live.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on to tell the world, or whoever YouTube is allowing to hear and see this, your story. Now, first of all,
they sure tried. They tried to shut it down. I guess I don't know what's going on, but here we are.
My gosh, well, we're here. We're standing strong. I mean, seriously, it's nuts. I mean, some of you guys know that they've shut me off like midstream how many times for stuff that I own copyrights to. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, U-Haul is in the house. U-Haul is in the house. Are you traveling? Did you set up your rig? U-Haul is a truck driver, cross country. I mean, you're talking, I think he has an 18-wheeler, right? I learned a little something. His tire blew the other night. And it's a front, wait, what is it? The steering in the front? Whatever. We're going to have to do a whole nother show on that. Now, the chef. Now, should I call you Cerberus or the chef? You know, I love calling you the chef. Now, you make some...
The chef is easy. It's streamlined, so it's a pretty fast thing to say, so we can go with that.
We're going to go with the chef because I like it. And I went on your TikTok and saw some of your dishes, and you are quite the chef, my friend. That's something you like to do. Okay, now...
I just want to give a shout... I do want to give a shout out to U-Haul. Truck drivers, man. Those guys, they are the lifeblood of this country. And...
Facts.
They need all the recognition, you know, beyond and above. You know, those guys and gals as well are out there every day in the mud, in the cold, in the rain.
Facts. Facts.
supplying America. So
Hey,
I appreciate you.
100%. You know, we don't grow our own food. Nikki, I think we were talking about this. Nikki says front is the steer. Yes, thank you, Nikki. You know, we were talking about what you're describing, and it's like you can't, you know, do anything without truck drivers. It's like Nikki and I had a private conversation about this. It was actually very funny. Maybe she'll tell it one day, but it's like, you know, the stuff doesn't grow at Whole Foods. Right, Nick? All right. Oh, Groove TV, so sorry that you had to turn in. Okay, I promise I'm going to do another show and we'll do a call-in and we're going to bring you up here. You're hilarious, by the way. Everybody, if you haven't followed Groove TV, follow him. Brandon Mitchell is in the house, one of our auditors. You've got to follow Brandon, and also Nikki, you can put your page up, the Vigilance Committee. Tyrants Beware. I will be on Tyrants' platform this Sunday at 7 p.m., I believe. Right, Tyrants? If he's still here. Okay, now, let's get into your story. First of all, Army veteran, right? 101st Airborne, right? After 9/11, you went in, right? Afghanistan.
I know I actually joined the Army in '98 when Clinton was president. Nothing was going on. And yeah, everything kind of the Army was pretty much like going to college. It was like a college town. Every military post was basically a university.
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
The kids that went in for the college tuition after 9/11 slowly realized why they actually joined the military at that point. But
interesting. That's a deeper conversation that we should have on another show, maybe. Yeah, I love my military guys. Every single person that's on my team is military. Every single one. So, including my family, all of that. So I do appreciate your service. Now,
as well as the mothers and the fathers and the sons and daughters and the wives and husbands that have to deal with their family member having to go out there and not know if they're going to come back. So,
and let's talk about that for a second, because you were married. Now, you married a girl that you knew since childhood, right? You knew her before you went into the military. Am I right?
Yeah. I met her when we were 8 years. I was 9. She was 8. Yeah.
How sweet. So you were married for 9 years, and a portion of those years you were in the military.
I was in the military the entire time we were married.
The entire time.
I was deployed, I think, for a good, I would say about 45% of the time that we were married.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, which is partially, if you're gone a lot, things happen, things didn't work out with that, right? So let me just get down this trajectory quickly. So you were married, you were in there, and then you became a contractor for a military as well, right? But then you did get a divorce. And at some point, when did you become a bail bondsman?
So it's when I came back from Afghanistan as a contractor, I got in with AT&T as a subcontractor for AT&T installing security systems. Their security system subsect, like their little, like, it's called Digital Life.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't compete with Brinks and the heavy hitters, Vivint. Those guys have been in the game for a long time. So that portion of AT&T went belly up. When that went belly up, the security technicians that were installing the systems we all got laid off. So I had a friend of mine. Well, she wasn't a friend, but I installed on her house, and we. I headed off with her husband, and everybody. And then when they moved again, they called me out. At that point, I was a supervisor. And then we installed on her house again. She was the owner of the bonding company. And then when I got laid off, I needed a job. So I said, hey, you own a bonding company. I need a job. And then she got me on with her. So
Okay,
that's
that
basically how I
now that
became a
makes sense.
bondsman.
So
Yeah.
you get out of the so you got laid off, right? You needed a job. A friend of
Mhm.
yours owned a bail bonds company, and you became a bondsman. is that
Yeah,
is that right? Now,
that's basically, yeah.
when you told me this story, I actually I was like, this can't even be real. You were talking about it a bit in the chat, and I was like, what is he saying? What is going on? Is he talking about a television show? So you become a bail bondsman, right? You end up bailing out this girl, which happened to
Yeah, I don't
be
even remember. Look, I don't even remember bailing her out. I don't remember bailing her out the first time. It was just, she's just a client. You go down to the jail, boom, you give out your card, and you have your phone number on there in case they need anything for whatever reason.
so hold on a
Go
second.
ahead.
So you bailed her. Wait, let's go back here. So you bailed
Hmm.
her out more than once. The
Yeah,
first
yeah.
time, so you bailed her out once, and when was that? You don't even remember. So
No.
wait a second. Okay, so you bailed her out, and what happened the second time? So is that when August 2021?
August 2021, she reaches out to me and this time is, so she got hit the first time for the uh, meth possession charges. Then she got hit again with meth distribution charges. And I don't want to escalate as fast, I don't want to go fast. I don't want to go high fast, but yeah, that's basically what was going on. So she was back in, she couldn't afford to get out. And she was like, she had a house that she had in the neighborhood. She had a couple of squatters that were in there. And she's like, look, I don't know who else to turn to. I don't have family here. Can you help me out with that? And it started out with me trying to get people out of her house.
Wait, hold on, back
Uh,
up. Wait. Reel me in for a second here. So you bail
okay.
her out. You don't even remember bailing her out the first time, right? She calls you out of the
Yeah.
blue, months or however long later, and says, I need help. Now she needs to be bailed out of jail again, right? Now, the first time it was possession of meth. Now it's distribution. So
Correct.
you do, when she calls you and says, I need help, do you remember who she is? Do you even know who you're talking to? How
It
does this
was
go? How does this conversation evolve to the point where you're bailing her out and then
it was I'm sorry, go ahead.
no. Go ahead.
So it was very vague at first because I would go to her house to pick up payments because she was on a payment plan with us. Some bonding companies go off of payments, like you have a down payment. So if
Okay.
your bond is like if your bond is 50,000 and your bail is 50,000 and your bond is 5,000, then you could put half, like 2,500 down, and then make payments
Right.
on the bond.
So when you went to
And
bail her
so
out, when you went to do the bond the second time when she called you, did she have the money to make the payments on that bond
no, the second
the
time was
second time?
me putting my house up to get her out.
So she calls you out of the blue. Let me ask you a question first of all. She calls you out of the blue for the second time. You don't really remember. You go meet her, you
No.
bail her out, right? You bail her
And
out,
yeah, so let's
and then
let's
she
rush through all
asks
that.
you,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
hold on, I got a really important question here. What does she look like? Okay? Because, I mean, this girl's got to be something. I mean, you go bail her out. You already know she's been arrested before because you can probably see a record that, there's another bond that you actually did prior to this. You're bailing her out on meth distribution, and somehow she convinces you to pay for it too?
Yeah, so yeah, she was a looker. I mean, but
She's got to be.
beauty isn't, it's a whole term of like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So I could put up a picture for the chat right now and say, she's an 8, and people be like, oh my gosh, she's a 4. I wouldn't know. Or I could say she's a 6 and somebody would be like, oh, she's a 9. So I can't really quantify objectively how she looks. To me, she was very pretty. She was very beautiful, but it wasn't about the beauty so much as her ability to convince me that she had nothing to do with it.
Right. It's the
You know
ability
what I
to
mean?
seduce you in
That's
other ways. See, this is the thing too that's very important because it's not just about looking like being a 20 or a 10 or a 100. I mean, I forgot. It's like I forgot who it was. Ebony K. Williams. I'll never. I was doing a reaction to one of her things, and she was like, Steven, when you're 100 like me, out of 1 to 10, I was like, oh, did she just say this? It's like it's not about a 1, a 10. Somebody could be a 3 and just literally have the ability to seduce a man mentally,
yeah.
emotionally, right? I mean, because think about it. Now, if you're talking about somebody rational, if you're bailing out somebody for meth distribution, what kind of things does this woman say to you to get you not only to pay for her bond, but you ended up, is this right? You ended up actually, she had to get people out. You ended up saving her house. Her house was in foreclosure, right?
Her house
She had a
was,
son.
that was during the time, from the time that she called me and started asking me to get people out of her house to the point where she was, they sold the house. I They sold the house. I went to the auction and I actually spoke to the person. I'm like, give this lady a chance. She's still in jail. She's trying to get all her stuff out, pictures of her family, blah, 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 all this other stuff.
Wait a
And,
minute, back up. So you were doing all this for her while she was still in jail?
yeah.
Okay.
And I was able to prolong the total eviction process from the new owner that bought the house because of her circumstance. So what I did, in my grand wisdom, I have a house. I have a house that I bought in 2007, and I borrowed against the house so I can bail her out.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I got her out. We were able to get all her stuff out of the house, and I put her stuff in storage, so I was paying for the storage unit, and then I had the house here, and I moved all her stuff in here,
Into your
and all
house.
under the all under, because I had this whole thing, I had this whole plan in my head. This,
Okay, talk to us
she's
about this plan. What is this plan? Because right now she's still in jail, correct? How
yeah.
is she
So
convincing you of all of this if she's not even seducing you in person? How
I
is
was lonely. I was lonely. I was lonely at home, and I she was a female voice that didn't make me feel alone, and that is where I want men to, and women, honestly, because women fall for the trap too. I want women and men to realize that no matter how lonely you think you are, you always have to keep your guard up against red flag. And red flags are a very important thing. Intuition as a whole is something that we ignore, and it puts us in a bind. And I ignored every red flag. I ignored every red flag, all of them,
let me
every last one of them.
when
The
you
fact
do,
that she, the fact that she was even arrested for distribute. Do you know what it is to be arrested for distribution? Your house was raided, and that's how everything went down.
wow.
And I threw all that away because she said, "You're a guy that I know can take care of me, and I don't have to worry anymore. I can finally relax." And that was music to my ears.
Those are the magical
And
words. Those are the magical words. That's what I was waiting for. What was it that
and
she could
that was
possibly
it.
say?
Yeah.
That was it. That's it. And you're doing all.
And
Let me ask you now. While she's in jail, are you able to see her? Are you going to the jail to visit her? Are you seeing
so
her
obviously
or
it
no?
was it was it was during the germ time.
Yeah,
So it was only video
virtual.
visits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would I would go there and I would visit her and we would have video chat together and
Wow.
I was the only one that went and
Now, was
so
she from the
I
area
really
or no?
huh?
Was she from the area? She had no family around, no friends, no nothing. Is she from out of town, out of state?
She grew up about an hour away from where I am.
Okay.
So
Okay.
uh but both her parents have both her parents passed.
Oh, wow.
Um so which that's yeah.
What kind of
So
family
I would
life did she have? Was her
she
childhood
she
and
grew
family life
no
good or
she grew up in the drug life. Like her dad
oh,
spent 8 years in prison because
okay.
of the same reason.
Now let me ask
So
you a question. Did you know
yeah.
this before you bailed her out? When did you find that out?
Um it was after when
After.
like I didn't she obviously couldn't tell me on the jail phone
Right.
what was real and what was not. So most of it was like, oh no, I didn't do it. There's no way. I was with a boyfriend and you know, he got me caught up in this and it was just this and it segued into but I can't believe I found you. I'm so lucky. You have no idea. I can finally relax and it just activated my cape. You know, I put the cape on and
You put the
I was
cape.
hooked.
You became Captain Save a you know what. Actually, you
Yeah.
became Captain Save a meth
Yeah,
dealer. A
yeah,
meth dealer.
that name we're not
Yes.
gonna use. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Let me just address the chat. Toe for life. Thank you so much for coming. I saw Ajot in here. Thank you for coming. Alexa Cruz. Welcome, my friend. Always good to see you. Nate the Great has a comment. He says, when every woman seems to ignore you and one finally pays you attention, you can easily get trapped into a situation that you'd never imagine putting yourself in. Experience here, he says. It's
that's
very
true. Yeah, it's
it's
true.
very interesting. You know, it's like a lot of these people. What I would call her a con artist for sure. I mean, anybody that's able to convince somebody, and I'm sure she told you she was set up. She, what are kind of the things that she told you? Actually, you're talking to her in jail, right? So eventually she gets out. How much time goes by before you get her out? And am I correct when you say you moved her into your house? Now,
Immediately.
immediately. So when she was in jail, is that when you were helping her with the lawyers and all of that? Were
No,
you doing
that was after the fact.
so she
Yeah.
got out of jail? So okay,
Yeah.
so how
So
long does it take for her to get out of jail and then move into your house from the time that you paid for her bond, all of that stuff?
that
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 night.
night, yeah. That as soon as I bailed her out, because we were already talking about I love yous and I can't wait to see you and the whole nine, like the whole nine.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
And
Back up. Hold on. I want to make sure I have this right. So how long were you talking to her from the time when she called you and said, I don't know who else to call. I really need help. I've been arrested again. I need your help. How long were you talking to her and doing video calls while she was still in jail?
August to January.
August to January. Wow. Okay, that's a
August to
long time.
January, yeah.
Now it's starting to make sense. Okay, so 5 months of that. So during that time, about 5 months, right? What were
Yeah.
you doing? 6 months? Okay. What were you doing for that time?
Uh Kicking the people out of her house, slowly pulling stuff out of her house that I could.
So she was saying she
Uh
had squatters in her house, right? Her house was foreclosed on. It was obviously sold. So you were getting rid of the squatters that were in her
yeah, like
house, right?
I would call the cops. It's funny because it's so weird how it even like I know squatters' rights are big, like, but even in Tennessee, which is very alarming, is that people can just live in your house, and you can't get them out. And I'm like, look, I'm trying to get these people. I called the cops, like, trying to get these people out. And they're like, we can't really do anything. She would have to go to the sheriff's office, or she would have to file an eviction against them. And then that was one of the first red flags. Was, now that I look at it, one of the first red flags is like, they don't belong there. I didn't allow them to go there. And then when I called the cops to try to get them out, she told me, well, I said one of them can stay there.
Okay.
Right? And I was like, well, that complicates things, but that's fine. Those other people, and then the cops were like, well, if she allowed him to stay there, he becomes a tenant. He can invite who he wants there. And that is where it's became like a real pain in the butt. So I got lucky, and I don't like to, it's just kind of a shameful admission, but I don't like to, but the dude, both of them that were living there, squatting there, they both had warrants. So
Warrants.
They had warrants. So the company, and they had FTAs, failure to appear warrants. So the companies, I knew the companies that had the FTAs against them. So the way that it works is a bonding company will bail someone out. So the bonding company bails someone out, and they're supposed to go to court. If they don't go to court, right, the bonding company puts the money up. And if the person runs, the bonding company has to pay that.
Of course.
Unless they can bring the person back to jail, then they're absolved.
Right. Let me just address the chat for 1 second, okay? This is so insane, this story. We have Darius Colman. Thank you for your super chat, Darius. Always appreciate you. Darius says, to have been a simp isn't a disgrace. To remain one with all of the knowledge and philosophy of much wiser men across the globe at a single click is. Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Yep. No, you're not wrong. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're talking. You know, this is a lesson, that lesson learned for you. Vulnerable time.
So the only way that I was able to actually get him out of the house was I talked to the bounty hunters that were looking for them, because I knew them, because I bounty hunted with them before.
Oh my God. Do you know how insane this is? You're calling bounty hunters that to get people out of a woman's house that is in jail on meth distribution. I mean, I know looking back now, you're like, what was I thinking? I don't care if she was running across a Victoria's Secret runway half naked. Right? This is high level manipulation. Okay. So you got them out. You called your bail bonds. You called your bounty hunters. Oh my gosh. You get them out. And then what happens?
So after that, then I was able to go in the house and get stuff out, start moving it into my house. And at that point I was like, hey babe, you're not going to believe it. I finally got them out. And she was like, oh, babe, that's fantastic. Thank you, blah, blah, blah. I love you so much, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like in cloud nine, because I did this thing. I did this thing for her.
You saved her. Now, let me ask you a question. You had to at some point question her, like, well, you had a bond before for, doing meth or, possession of meth. Now I'm bailing you out for, distributing meth. Like, at what point, did she tell you, oh, it's a lie? Like, she had to have told you something. Or what is it that she told you to convince you that she was not going to do this again? Do you know what I'm saying? Did she say I was set up? Did she say I made a mistake? I just need a second chance? What was it? What kind of manipulation went on here for these months that she was in jail to get you to actually trust her?
No, it was a obvious. Well, obviously we all know I was a pathetic loser that lived alone and I was lonely and I was getting attention. But she told me that it was a boyfriend, and then she broke up with the boyfriend, but the boyfriend had already brought a bunch of people to the house,
I
and she
see.
felt vulnerable as a woman, and she didn't want to do this, that, and the other. And then, but when I got her out, when I got her out, she admitted to everything.
Okay, so let's
She
let's
admitted, yeah.
let's fast forward to that. So first of all, you get her out of jail. Now at this point, is the house already sold? All her stuff is out of it. You've moved all her stuff. You were paying for storage at first, then you moved it all to your house, correct?
Oh no, she had so much shit that there was stuff in storage and in my garage and all over my house that was hers.
And
Yeah.
you were paying for all of that, the storage.
Yeah.
Okay, now
Yeah.
you move her out. You bring her home. You pick her up. What is that like? What is it like picking this woman up from jail and bringing her to your house?
So it's weird because I told her, you don't we don't have to be involved. And dude, I was so
Why
looking
would you say
back,
that?
good God, it was so bad. So I took her to Denny's because she wanted to go to Denny's. Then we went to Walmart to pick up a couple of like clothing,
Right.
toiletries, things of that
Yep.
nature. I brought her home. Um, she relaxed. Uh, we watched the movie, and then she went to go take a shower. I went to my living room, or my den upstairs, and I laid down on the couch because I didn't want her to think that um, I did this all for some strange. So, but she was like, "No, come to bed, come to bed. I want you to come to bed." And she went all the way through with it, man. Like she was, uh, that's it's yeah. So we things, all that stuff, and even with all that, because she tried to throw it in my face when I finally caught her. I told her I would have been okay with just helping you out, and then you go your own way.
Okay, wait.
And
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But so you pick her up, you bring her to Walmart, you do all that stuff, you bring her in the house, right?
yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
she appreciative at least? Does she like
Oh
give
no,
you?
she was,
Does she
yeah.
give you
I mean,
one kiss? Nothing happens.
no,
U-Haul, one kiss is
every
all it
no,
takes.
no.
Falling in love with me. This is for you, U-Haul. I look like all you need. One kiss is all it takes. Possibilities. Falling in love with me. I look like all you need. One. Not even one kiss.
No, we went, I don't want to just get all, a man doesn't kiss and tell, but that was the one thing, like, we were active in that aspect.
Okay,
But that's what, it doesn't help it though, you know?
I get it.
Yeah, okay. He's not a simp in the sense that he was giving money and not getting play. But the fact that she was doing it like it was nothing. And in
Interesting.
all honesty, I can't even call it a relationship because I was never with her because she was never with me. It was just a means to an end. That's the
Looking
whole
back,
thing. It's
when you were in it though, is that how you felt, or did you feel that you were in
no,
love and
gosh, no.
she
I was no, I
had?
was on a mission. I was like, I'm gonna make this girl feel this girl that grew up in this gloomy world. I'm bringing in sunshine, rainbows, unicorns, the whole nine yards. I'm gonna try to do everything.
So now I may be jumping ahead a bit. I don't think so though. First of all, she has a son, correct? It's
Hmm.
not your son. And
No,
you
no,
were
God, no.
paying for lawyers for her
Yeah,
for
so
visitation rights.
the
First of all, when did you even find out that she had a son? And how did all of that now transpire? Now you're paying for lawyers. And is that the only lawyer fee you were footing the bill for? What
no,
about
no,
her
no. So
case?
yeah. So what she told me was um, that she was here's a that's another red flag. She said that she was working too much and she didn't have time for her son, and so gave him to his dad.
And okay,
And
first of all, working. What did she tell you that she was doing for a living? Working too much doing what?
he was apparently a manager for a gas company, the gas station.
A manager
It's
for
like
a
it's like
gas
a
company.
well, it's a gas station chain, and she was working the corporate part as a logistician, like, making sure perishables were being replaced and all that other stuff.
Now,
So,
that's a pretty good job. That's a
yeah.
pretty dang good job. No? I mean, it always amazes me that all of these, like a lot of, not that you were catfished. This is not a catfish. Clearly, the
Mm-mm.
woman's living with you. Okay, it's not even
Like I
close.
told, like I told you, when you first started this, and a lot of people in the chat, I don't know if they remember, especially Drew Brew. I know he'll remember. You
And
Hall, you
Nate,
guys will
yep,
remember. I told you this is this is worse. This
it's
is
way
worse than a
worse.
catfish.
It's way worse. So okay, all right. She tells you she's in the corporate world. I mean, first of all, it's like the stories that they come up with. I mean, she's clearly extremely manipulative because you believed her. But it could have been that you were just so smitten over her that, you didn't even care about thinking about, you're not thinking rationally. As Rollo Tomasi would say, the rational male
The rational
didn't
male,
exist
right?
right then and there, right? Okay, so when did you find out that she had a son? Did you find that out while she was
No,
in
it was right
jail?
away. It was right
It
away.
was
Yeah,
right
no, it's
away. So you
yeah.
knew all that while she was still in jail. So you were also trying to help her with that. So she told you. So what was the real reason that she didn't have visitation rights to her son? Is it because of the criminal past? Or did
No,
she ever
no,
have a
yeah.
corporate job? Or was it all a
When
lie?
she no, she did because I saw it. She showed me the emails. But the problem is like when she got fired from the job because she was in the streets.
There you go.
She was in the
Okay.
streets, and she couldn't blend both worlds together.
I
You
see.
know, I would dare say she tried to be
Yep.
a normal person, but it's not in her genetics. But she gives him her son, and
And how old is the
um
son at this point while you're dating
at
her?
at at that point he is 11,
11. So he's a child.
and so the dad
Mm-hmm.
obviously realizes that she got arrested and what she got arrested for, and then he files for custody. And not only does he file for custody, but he files for custody to keep her away from him.
Wait a minute. This is an expensive bill. Okay. Do you know? I know how difficult it is. I don't have children and I have not been married yet. I'm engaged. But I know from research and just hearing horror stories how expensive it is for a man to try and get custody, a custody suit. First of all, he has money. It's an expensive task to even attempt that. I mean, she does have a history of drugs and so on and so forth. But okay, my other question: were they married or not?
They were married and divorced after a year.
Okay,
But yeah, so but yeah, after, the charges that were levied against her, it was fairly easy to get custody. He obviously had stability. He had a house, all that good stuff.
okay.
She did not because she was in jail.
So
Um,
you're not the first victim because obviously she was married. She was pretty convincing at that point as well, right? She
yeah,
married a guy. He sounds like a stable man. You're telling me he owned a house. He's obviously cares about his kid. He's fighting for custody. So there's a lot going on here. A lot going
yeah, he's a
on
good
here.
man. He's a really good man. I mean, he also warned me. He
You spoke
basically
to
when I
him?
first oh I met him. Yeah, I met him. I met him, and he told me just don't be surprised when it happens. And I was like, oh,
Where did you meet him and how?
uh, well, we took her son. Her son came to visit for a weekend after we got visitation. when we got, I paid for the lawyer to get visitation.
What did
They
that
opened up
cost you?
visitation, 5,000.
Wow. And how much was her bond?
Her bond was 10,000,
Wow.
and then it was the bond was 100K. So I borrowed as much as I could against the house to get her out, and then I got her out. But yeah, then I started borrowing, like, and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, because I only had my VA money.
Right. And
But because I had good credit at the time, I would just borrow and borrow and borrow.
just for the lifestyle, just to live.
Not just a lifestyle, but to show her, hey, look,
I'll take
I
care of
said I would
you.
get I said I would get your son back in your life. I said I would help you beat the case, and it was another 5 grand for the lawyer, for the criminal lawyer, and
So you're spending money. You're trying to prove to her that you can change her. You can change her life. You're accepting of her son. You're accepting of her past. You're clearly
and
forgiving.
I actually got. I still look. I'm not even lying to you. Before we came on the live,
Mm-hmm.
her nephews called me just to say hi.
Wow. So you're still in contact with some of her family.
With yeah, and it was, and like I bought them phones. I bought her a phone. I bought her nephews a phone. I bought her son a phone. I got them the green light. I don't know if who for you parents out there, green light is like a credit, like a little debit card that you could put money on. I got them all. I was putting money on their phone, just
Wow.
just like just and then uh, she had the house here, but it wasn't enough. Like she started linking back up with the people before that she said she was done with. I can't do that. It's all about my son and all this other stuff. But the big caveat is, like, she went back to the man that she was with, that she was selling with.
Okay. This is the guy that she's dating and seeing when she gets
That she
arrested
hated
for
when she was in jail. She
meth.
hated him. She was done with him.
This
This is a
sounds like
guy
the movie
that
Casino. This is Lester Diamond.
this is this is a guy that I would go to. She said, he still has my stuff. Please try to get my stuff back from him. I would go by there at least twice a week after work.
Wait a minute. Wait
Right?
a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. Back up. You you were interacting with him as well,
Oh no, he wouldn't come to the door. I mean,
but
but
you
I
had.
would, like, drive back there and try to get the stuff back.
Wow. So was he also squatting in her house
No,
at
he
that
lived in
time?
a
He okay. He
no,
lived. He had
he
another
lived in
house,
a tra he lived in a trailer in his dad's backyard
and you were going to the trailer in his
to
father's
try to get her
backyard to
stuff
pick up
to try to
stuff.
yeah to try to get her stuff
Okay,
back.
you
Yeah.
were in a bad place. You were clearly in a bad place. All right. Now, let me ask you a question. Now, first of all, what happened with the custody situation? Did she get her did the husband, the ex-husband end up with custody of the child or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you spent money and for nothing really, right?
Actually, yes, no, because the last conversation that I had with her was a few months ago, and she reached out to me and was like, the lawyer that I paid for recused herself from the case, and she was like, I don't know what to do, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. You know, that was that was after I already, like, the rose colored glasses were already broken. I despised her, and then she had the audacity to try to come back. The well was dry at that point, so I told her, I said, I don't know what to tell you. reach out to the lawyer and find out why she recused you.
Okay, so things are starting to get bad now. Now, first of all, the chat, you're cracking me up. Okay. Okay, listen, it's good that you're telling this story, okay, Chef, because hello Andrew, you just came in. Hello, Andrew Williams is in the chat. Tyrants beware, green light baking. I wonder if that's the same thing as green dot baking. Now, funny thing is, these lawyers, we were just in a conversation last night on the Vigilance Committee talking about lawyers and walking off cases after you've paid them and so on and so forth. I mean, this system is absolutely insane. Insane. Alexa Cruz says you cannot buy love. You cannot buy love.
That is the moral. That is the moral of the story. That's the moral of this
story. U-Haul. My ex lived in a trailer. Now I drive a tractor trailer. You have some very interesting stories too. That's for sure. Okay, now explain this to me. How long did it take from the time that you brought her back home for her to go back to Lester Diamond, that's what we're going to call him, her ex-boyfriend, and start smoking meth or doing meth again?
Looking back at it, I got her out January 10th of 2022. About 2 weeks.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that you bailed her out of jail? You spent 5 or 6 months talking to her. You cleared out her house. You got rid of the squatters. You called your bounty hunters. I mean, this is like a television show. This is nuts. You get her home. You take her to Walmart. You bring her shopping. You move her in. You hire a lawyer on top of it all so that she can try to get custody. You spend money on that. You're borrowing against your house. You're using up all your credit. You're taking care of her, her son, her nephews, everybody in sight. Okay, and you're telling me that 2 weeks after you moved her into your home, after doing all these things for her while she was still in jail, she went back to Lester Diamond, her ex-boyfriend, and started doing meth again and started interacting with him? 2 weeks? 2 weeks.
I'm gonna make my situation even worse for me. I was doing all of that after I found out that she was back at it.
When did you find out that she was back at it? Did you know 2 weeks in that she was back at it, or is this something that you found out way later?
So she had a sealed indictment, and a sheriff came to her house. A sheriff came here to rearrest her for the sealed indictment. Right.
To your
I bailed
home.
her out of that as well. Right. So that's a third bailout. But during that time, I went through, my intuition kicked in. I went through her phone, and that's when I saw the text messages between her and him, and how all that stuff that she was talking about, how he's a piece of trash, all that, like, I'm done with the lifestyle, all that stuff. I went through her whole thing about how she was doing pickups, drop offs, all that stuff, and
she was doing all of this while
her being in love with him. Dude, when she called me from jail.
Wait a second. She gets out of jail, and you're telling me, like, in a matter of a couple of weeks, she's already selling meth again, distributing it, and seeing him, and you knew this right away.
So
Hold on a second. Darius Colman, thank you so much for the super chat. Darius says, I got one about an ex who introduced me to meth. What is going on here? Okay. Chef, all right. Explain this to me. How is it? Where are you at mentally that you know this? You've gone through her phone. You see that she's back with Lester Diamond selling meth, and she's probably doing it, obviously, right? And you ignore it. You don't confront her. Like, you just let this go on.
Oh no, I was hot railing copium at that point. I was just like, she's just lost. She's doing it because she's in survival mode. She doesn't. She's not thinking properly. And she calls me because when you get arrested, you get the call so somebody can bail you out. She calls me, and I tell her, I know about the conversations between you and such, and then I know everything. I know everything. And she was like, so we're going through each other's phones now. And I was like, yes. And I'm glad I did because now I know so I can tell you you can stop doing that. You don't have to live like that anymore. And I said the most stupidest, simpish stuff ever. I said, I'm gonna show you what real love is. And I took her back in. And I doubled down. That's when everything, because on her son's birthday, his dad wouldn't let her talk to him,
Oh,
and she was like crying. And I said, we're gonna get your son back, and that's when I went on the whole mission, the whole vision quest of like getting the lawyer and paying for the lawyer and borrowing to pay for the lawyer. Got her son in her life, and I thought when I got her son in her life, you know, I I made that happen. She's clearly not going to see that other guy as important. He didn't do anything to make this happen. I did.
let me
And I thought that was like, I just got your son that you say is your whole world, that without him you'd be nothing. I just got him back in your life. Clearly I've earned my way. It never flowered. It never bloomed.
this okay. You know what? All right, Tyrants Beware is saying you can't buy me love if she's doing meth. Can't
Nope.
buy me love. Okay, you cannot buy me love. You
You
cannot buy
cannot.
me love. What?
You can't buy.
I mean,
Can't
look.
buy love.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know, you can't really. Looking back, hindsight is 2020, right? Okay, obviously, we've all, wish we didn't do this, wish we didn't do that. But there is definitely something about certain women who have the capability to be this manipulative, this seductive. I mean, here's a question that I have for you, because you seem like a very balanced guy. Okay, you had an amazing career in the Army. I mean, 101st Airborne, for God's sake, 11-year career. Then you went on to, being a military contractor. I mean, you went to Afghanistan, you were in Iraq. I mean, military people have a whole different mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
There's a
some
there's a
soldiers are
difference,
stupid.
but still there's a difference that you learn discipline. There's just difference. They're young kids today, little tweens, where like it's like you can just see where they're gonna end up. It's like military does instill some kind of discipline, values. It teaches you things no matter what, right? On top of that, you have family around you, right? You know people, you have friends. What are your friends saying to you about this? Or did she try to also separate everybody from you that cared about you? Where are
Uh,
your friends? Where are your family at this point? They've got to be. Do they know what the deal is with her? Do they know that you're with this woman, that you moved into your home, that she has a son, that you paid for the lawyers? Does she know that? Do they know that she was in jail, arrested twice for meth distribution and possession? Do they know this stuff?
to this day, no.
Oh,
The only one that knows is the owner of the company. And let me tell you, uh,
interesting.
I was going to marry her.
Did you
I was going to marry
propose?
her. Yeah, I proposed. I bought a $700 ring. Not a big deal. I know a lot of people want $10,000 rings now, but for me, I was like, I went
You
to the
proposed.
PX. I proposed, and then she said yes. And then in Tennessee, a notary can perform
A marriage?
a ceremony,
I
right?
see.
So I called my boss, and I came over, and she was like, "Are you sure? Like, are you sure? I really don't want to do this." I was like, "I need you to do this. You're 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 my friend, and I want you to do this." So she came by, and then she started grilling the shit out of her. He was like, "You should,
Wow.
why you want to marry him? Like, do you love him? Like, do you really want to do this? Like, what do you think? What are you trying to get out of this?" And then I think when we'll call her Devious, right? I think when
Devious.
Devious, caught my boss's energy, like a female that was basically calling out a female, like I'm a girl, and I see your evil girl stuff,
Right.
and she was like, no, I really don't. No, I don't want to get married. But she was all gung ho about it until my boss came in. So my boss actually saved me because I was ready to put her name on everything, on
So
everything.
who withdrew from the marriage idea? You or her?
She did. She did.
She did. So your boss saved you
The-
by getting her to feel
she,
uncomfortable and
dude, you
saying, "You
have
know
no idea.
what?
She
Yep,
to this day, I am eternally grateful because it would have been a nightmare trying to divorce myself from her.
I can't even
Yeah.
imagine it." Let me just say hello to everybody in the chat. MD999. My shoulder pads are looking great. You know I love my shoulder pads. And when are you going to start making new beats, huh? I posted one of your beats on my community page. Maybe Drew can put your link up. Okay. Now, all right. We're talking months into this now, right? I mean, obviously, you're still thinking that you can save her, which is just it's mind-boggling to me. What did it take? I mean, I still can't get past the point that you spent all of this money. I mean, you're borrowing against your house, for God's sake. You're using all your credit. You're paying for her lawyers to get her son custody of her son. That didn't work. You're dealing with all her exes, right? I mean, this is literally like the movie Casino. And she still leaves with Lester Diamond. I mean, how when do you finally get to the point where you rid this woman of your life, or does she walk away?
No,
How
so she calls me in the morning, and she's like, "Oh, because I bought a car so she can get around."
you bought
Because
her
I
a
was like,
car?
"Look, yeah, I want to be as legally safe about what I say as far as
Mm-hmm.
that the car was in my name. I was the one that was paying for it. I'm on the register. This, that, and the other. But if you say I bought her a car, then oh, it's my car, and then I get the car. Okay, cool. No, but I bought a car so she could get around.
I understand.
So she calls me. She says the car just stopped in the middle of the road. So I call out of work to drive out there, find out what's going on with the car. The car is not working, right? So she was one of those people like me. If something's not working, I take it to a mechanic, or whatever. She was the one. Oh, I got a friend for that. She always had a friend for something. So the friend, I became very close with him,
This is the friend that could
and
fix the car now?
she's yeah. So I have the cards out there, but um, so he takes the car, and then he calls me and he says, "Oh, Hamilton, don't worry about the car. I got everything flushed out. I got all the diesel fuel out of it."
Diesel fuel?
And
Was
I'm
it a
like,
diesel car?
it's a Buick Verano,
So what did she
right?
accidentally put diesel gas in it?
No, so what happened was her and the boyfriend that she had, that she was actually in a relationship with, they got in a fight. He took the car to the nearest Shell gas station and put diesel fuel in the car
Okay.
so she wouldn't be able to drive it. So she goes down the road. Obviously, the car stops working, but she was like, I took it. So she told me, I took it to the Shell gas station and the gas was bad.
So she's
The
covering
gas
for
that she
him.
put in it.
Yeah, bad gas. Yeah,
So,
that's a good one.
so for me, the whole day, I'm like, how? are there other drivers that are complaining about this bad gas? Other drivers are complaining about this bad gas, right? Because it's coming from the same pump. And she is like, I don't know, but I know that that's what happened. Okay, cool. So I tell her, hey, buddy just told me that there was diesel fuel in the gas tank, and he told me that we'll just say, whatever, her beau was
He's
the
the one
one
that
that
told
put it
you.
in there.
So
He
she didn't
was he
even
was
tell you.
complaining. No. So she came home that night after it was flushed out and blah blah, and she was sitting on the bed, and I said, "How in the world? How can you not only do that, but with everything that I've done?" And at that point, I was just yelling at her. I was yelling at her because I was done,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "You got a lot, how can you do that? You made me look stupid. I paid for all this stuff. I did all this stuff, and 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 then you have this weird boyfriend that puts diesel fuel in a car so you can't drive around because you guys got an argument, and that's who you're choosing."
Well,
And then she got up, she got up and she was walking towards the front door, and I actually ran down the stairs, and that's when I stood in front of the car. I stood in front of the car, and she tried to get in, and I said, "Have your boyfriend come pick you up."
so that
And
was
then
the
she walked,
moment that you
yeah,
came to your
she walked up,
senses.
she walked up the hill, right? So the car sat out there all week. She still had the key. So she still had the key. So the weekend, the Sunday night came around. Sunday morning or Monday morning, I wake up to go to work. The car is gone. She took the car. So I get with my old boss at this point. I quit the bonding company, so I because I got on with the other job, and she was like, she went through a skip trace program
What's a
that
skip
people
trace
because
program?
so for the people out there that don't know, there are companies that go around taking pictures of license plates for vehicles in the event that they have to look for a car that needs to be repossessed.
Okay.
So they go around taking pictures of random vehicles in parking lots in a bunch of different places. And for some reason, I went to go see her. I went to go see her. I because I called my boss that day. I said, my car is
Where did you
gone.
go see her? Where was she? And how many?
At she worked at she worked at a biker bar.
Okay, so
And
she got a job at a bar. When did she do that? While she was still living with you?
but she was always working at a bar,
Okay.
bartending and stuff like that.
Supposedly.
So
Okay, and
that's just
got it.
part of the whole thing. So
So she's
um
making money, but you're still paying for everything.
I was paying for everything.
Okay.
But she was making like, God, I don't know. I don't even know if that's relevant because the money that she made, I wasn't seeing it.
Did
So
you ever see her working at the bar? Did you ever go to the bar
yeah,
while
yeah,
she
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
working?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
she was working at a bar. Okay, and she's
Yeah, she
doing.
was working at a bar, yeah.
And now
But
at this point,
I went to the bar and I told her, "Where's the car?" She's like, "You mean?" I said, "Where's my car?" She said, "You mean my car?" Like, insinuating that I bought her the car. I
mm-hmm.
said, "Look, don't don't do this. Don't do this." I said, "Give me back my car. It's over. You're done. Go. You can be with your boyfriend like you wanted to. I'm out of the picture. Just come get your shit and get out of my life, and then we're done. And we're done." And she was like, "I don't know where the car is. I don't know where the car is." So I got with my boss, my old boss. She found the car.
Where was
So
it?
what my boss did,
Was she
it
hiding
was
it?
in a, it was some freaking apartment complex. So she said, "I found the car. Go sit on the car. I'm gonna go see her at her job." So my boss went to her job. She turned on the camera, and she was like, "Look, give me his keys, or I'm going to revoke your bond," because she was still on bond.
I see.
So she's like, "Look, dude, you stole a vehicle. You're still on meth. I can test you now and revoke your bonds. So how do you want to play this?" And at this point, her bond, if she would have revoked her bond, she would have been on 155K, I think, in
Wow.
total throughout all her charges. Because remember, we bailed
Jeez.
her out the first time, and then we bailed her out for the 100K, and then we bailed her out for the 75K for the 75. Yeah, for the no for the 7.5K. So she was if we would have and know who the hell was going to bail her out, right? So she finally so the car was at an apartment complex. The key was with the boyfriend.
Of course, because he
So
was
my
driving it
so
too.
my so my boss went over to the boyfriend's house to get the key,
Oh my.
and then she came to me to get the car, and then I drove the car and I gave it to my son.
Now here's the thing. You gave it to your son. That was very kind of you, but I have a very important question for you. Okay? And this is a very important question, everybody watching. So let me ask you something, Chef. All of this that happened, that occurred, that we've talked about, okay? Did this situation with her, your identity being stolen twice and your AR-15 being stolen, was that after
My
you kicked
stolen,
her
yeah.
out, or was that before?
No, it was during. So those are the pinnacle points. Like
So
my,
before,
I had
because this is this, I'm sitting here like, you're going through this whole story, right? And now, if she came back and stole your AR-15 and your identity twice after you had kicked her out, well, I can understand that. But are you about to tell me that she did this while you were together and you
all right.
still took her back?
So here's the fancy thing about that, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
she she had people coming in and out of the house, and she was like,
Your
"Oh, those are
house.
friends. Yeah, those are friends, and if you don't trust them, that means you don't trust me." And I was like, "No, obviously I trust you, duh." Like, clown head on,
Yep.
right? And so my VP40 came up missing first,
Explain what a
and
VP40 is to the chat in case they don't know.
it's uh it's an HK VP40. It's a Volks pistol, so it's a handgun.
Okay.
And
Now, here's the thing. Having a handgun because she's a felon, correct?
no, she wasn't convicted yet.
Not a felon because she wasn't convicted. Wow.
Yeah, she wasn't convicted yet. And I was ready
Okay.
to like throw that away too. By the way, if guys or gals, if you're gun enthusiasts, right, and you fall in love with a guy that's a felon or with a gal that's a felon, guess what?
No more
You can't have
guns.
guns in the house.
Yep.
So kiss that goodbye.
Yep.
So don't even try. Don't even bother. So that's
And you were
one
ready to
thing.
give all that up for her. You have an AR-15. So, how did your identity get stolen and your guns? First of all, that's your identity was stolen twice, correct?
So the
And
oh,
by
you're good.
who? By who?
You're good.
I don't forget.
Um,
You're not going to get away with that
so
one.
okay, so the first time somebody tried to use my identity to buy a storage facility at U-Haul down the road or whatever, and so I call my boss and she grills her. She's like, "So who do you?" He grills her. She's like, "Who do you know that wants to, because they try to use my card, but the IDs didn't match."
I see.
Right. And then the
Mm-hmm.
second time, the IRS sent me a letter saying that I filed taxes. I don't
Wait a
file
minute.
taxes.
The IRS sent you a letter?
Yes. On everything that I
She
love, they said that I filed taxes. But the weird thing is at that time, I wasn't working. I wasn't working. I had my VA disability.
Wait,
And
so how? So
I don't
she was
I don't
filing.
file taxes.
Wow.
I didn't file taxes. So I was like, who's filing taxes for me? and it's because I let her in, and then she let them in, and and that's how that worked.
So you're
She
saying so she was letting people in and out of the house. Now you're already working a new job, right? At this point. So are she doing this while you're not home, or are you walking home, coming home from work and there's just random people in the house like it's some,
Yeah,
college
yeah,
frat house or something?
dude.
Yeah.
The people. So the people that um the people that took my AR-15, she brought them home, and she was like, "Oh, they have nowhere to stay, so they're gonna stay with us."
She brought people into your house
Yeah.
and they stole your AR-15. Did you ever get it back?
No, I filed with Tennessee, the alpha, the alcohol tobacco
Yep.
ATF.
Mm-hmm.
I filed with local and
You had
sheriff's
to.
department, and I filed with the state police, and I have um, so
Okay.
I don't know if they're ever gonna find. I don't know if they're
Well, the gun's
ever gonna
gone.
find those fucking, yeah. The
It's
guns
been
are gone.
soldered.
Like,
It's been all altered, and you know that's gone. But here's the thing. Let's just like understand this, okay? For everybody that's just coming in, okay? Like MB triple nine here, better dead, right? Coleman, you know the story, okay? U-Haul, right? So you bail a woman out, and then months later, you don't even remember her. She calls you and says, "I have nowhere else to turn. I've been arrested again. I need help." She's arrested for distribution of meth. The first time it was possession of meth. You end up in conversations with her over a period of months while she's in jail. During that time, you not only you took care of her bond, right? You on top of
mhm.
that paid for a lawyer for her to get custody or of her son, which that didn't work out, even though you spent $5,000.
It was
You
visitation. Yeah, it was visitation. But
visitation.
yeah, yeah.
Then you started paying for things for her son. You took care of her house. You got storage facilities. You got rid of squatters. You hired bounty hunters that were friends of yours. I mean, the list goes on and on. Then she gets out of jail, moves in with you. You find out that within a matter of weeks, she's already talking to her ex that she was selling and distributing meth with and doing meth with. You find that out, you confront her, you forgive her again, and you keep going and going and going. She steals your car, your identity is stolen, your AR-15 is stolen, another gun. I mean, what were you actually thinking? What is it? Where were you in life as a human that put you in a position like this? Like what would you tell anybody listening that what advice would you give people? What Okay, let me ask this a different way. If you could look back, right, which you clearly can, and do it all differently. Obviously, you were in a bad place. That's understandable. We're humans, okay? People get in bad places. But what would you advise men, women, whoever to do if they're in a position like this, that they're in a very sensitive place? What would you advise that they do instead of this? Because we're in a society, in a world today where it's just like there are hustlers breeding by the billions, okay? Whether it's in other countries scamming people online or human beings just taking advantage of other human beings when they know that they're at a low point, right? So, what would you do differently? What would you tell a man that feels like that to do?
Don't ignore don't ignore the red flags. Like, your intuition is your best friend, and you cannot you cannot help that person. You can't help them. They're in the position that they are in because they orchestrated that position. Um,
Do you think that people do you think that you in particular did this because you wanted to feel better about yourself and helping her would make you feel better? Did you do it out of selfish reasons? You know, actually, was it a selfish thing that you
and
did?
I mean, that's a fair question to ask, and I could say, yeah. I could say, yeah. Why not? If I do this for her, she won't make me feel lonely. Um, if
Do you feel that you put people around you in a dangerous place? I mean, you have children, you have family,
yeah,
guns,
no. I mean, I created I created a terrible environment for myself. Um,
and you're paying the price for it now.
um, yeah, I very much so appreciate the job that I have,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't have had this job if it wasn't for my necessity to bail myself out of the deep doldrums that I put myself in. But
Right.
no, I was doing great. My mortgage now is like $1,600. It was $700 before I met her.
Right.
My credit score was 710. Now it's sitting at like 601.
Right.
I'm still paying off on the loans that I got to pay for lawyers that have already recused themselves, which is so crazy because the criminal lawyer was able to get her off on 10 years probation on all those charges. All she had to do was sit for a year in uh what is it called? Rehab. So you had to sit for
Really?
a year for rehab and then do 10 years probation.
Wow. And the lawyers that you paid for helped her with that.
Yeah.
Is she any, do you speak to her anymore at
No.
all?
No. She blocked me the last time. She was like, "Oh, now he's not letting me see him again after the lawyer recused herself.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, he's not letting me see him again because." And I was like, "Look, you don't you don't have a house. You're jumping from house to house." At that point, now I was being
Right.
painfully honest with her, and because I wasn't like kissing her ass or whatever, she blocked me.
Right. Here,
She Yeah, she blocked me. So I was like, whatever, it's whatever. Like, I mean, the fact that I'm even talking to you, the only reason why I did that was because um, I got to I got to keep talking to her son, and then I realized that his dad actually became really cool with me. And he was like, "Yeah, Ashton's always talking about you. If you guys want to, play online, or if you want to talk," I was like, "Hell yeah." He's a sweet kid. Like,
right.
she doesn't deserve him, to be honest with you. And I'm just like, yeah, the kids, if the boys ever want to talk to me, of course, they're a victim of circumstance.
Yes,
So I
absolutely.
mean,
You know, that says something about you. You know, you seem like a really good person. You have a great heart, clearly, right? But it's funny because it's like, you know, I do a lot of the OnlyFans reactions and, you know, OnlyFans on trial. And people come at me because I'm, you know, they're like, you're going so hard on these girls. You don't know what they've been through. Well, you know what? That's not an excuse. It's
no,
not
it's
an
not.
excuse. There are people that have been through ungodly circumstances growing up. I mean, you can go on and on, that are amazing people that never treat people this way, that are not selfish like this, that aren't unkind. You we're definitely a victim of somebody who is very demonic. There's no
And
doubt
I
about it.
can't. I love you, DiBRAVA, but no, I'm not a victim. I ignored it. I I was
Now that's a
literally
man
like
talking.
snorting. I was snorting copium, and I was like, just no. There's no way I can fix her. And that's the big takeaway is like, yo, you cannot fix. You are no. It's not that you cannot fix it. It's that you are not responsible for somebody else's broken
There
past.
you go.
Okay, you're not responsible for somebody else's broken past.
You know,
Just because she had a messed up past and she's screwing up with your, she's messing with your feng shui, if you will, or whatever, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. Like she can't turn around, or he for the women too, man. For the
yep,
women too. This is very important. This is very important.
yep,
You are not responsible to fix his or her past. You're
yep.
not.
You know, it's funny. Darius Colman, thank you again for the super chat. He says, same water that softens a potato hardens an egg. Exactly. You know, I want to talk about something because this is like extremely important. You know, people are like, oh, you're so uptight. You don't drink. You don't do anything, right? Let me tell you, this story, because she is an addict, clearly. Okay. Addicts will do and say anything, anything, anything at all. That's why, like, you know, these girls on OnlyFans that are like, oh, I was a prostitute and now I just want to marry, you know, a Christian boy or, you know, somebody from the synagogue or whatever. It's like, look, you know, if you were literally addicted to OnlyFans and you made $8 million doing it, you're not going to convince me that you're going to stop because it's like, people on drugs or people that are severe alcoholics or any of this stuff, it's it's a no-win situation. It's an
Right.
uphill
Yeah.
battle. And you know, the manosphere, the red pill, Darius, you know, MGTOW, all that stuff.
That's what woke me up.
That's
That's
what
what woke me
that's
up. It
what
was
woke
so
you
funny
up.
because it was I think it was I can't, dude, it's so crazy because it must have been a week before the car broke down. It was a week before the car broke down. Because she would disappear. She would disappear for nights, for days, and then just show up.
You're kidding
And then
me.
spend a couple of days. And then because she was like, oh, I'm dumpster diving, I can't keep moving. And she was always high on meth. And
Wow.
and I know she was high on meth. Why do I know she was high on meth? Because I was using with her at a certain
I
point.
see. Wow, how did you kick
So,
that?
but I think it was my alcoholism that kind of like counteracted everything.
Mm-hmm.
This stupid thing to say, but I didn't see, I get it, whatever. I can see why, uh I could see the appeal, but it was just like whatever. It wasn't for me, right? But I could see why. But
Well,
yeah,
you're
she
lucky
would
you got
go.
out of that.
Dude, she would smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke, and she would be up, and then she would crash and just sleep for a long time. And yeah, so I don't know, man. It was just none of it made sense to me.
So when
I,
did you start using drugs with her? When did that happen?
I was
Early
curious. I was
on?
like, what's the big deal? Like, why is that? Why?
And did she try to
And
kind of
and she
convince you
didn't
to do it,
hesitate.
or
Like she didn't hesitate.
when did that start? Was it early on in the relationship after you brought her home from
No, no,
jail?
no. Way after, way
Way
after.
after.
Yeah, because I was just like, what the like, why? What's so important about this? Like, like, no, you don't. Because I would tell her, this is stupid. Like, why are you doing this? Like, you're up all the time, and then you crash, and then you're up all the time, and you don't understand. You don't understand. I was like, well, make me understand.
And then you did it.
And she did. And she's like, "You want to?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I did. And
Wow,
yeah,
you're
it
lucky.
makes you it makes you productive. I'm not gonna lie about
It
that.
makes you productive.
Um,
Wow.
but yeah, I was no, I'm not gonna, But here's the thing:
Were you
it's like
addicted to it or no? They say some
no,
people, right? Okay, so how did you
no,
kick
no.
that? Wow, you've been through a lot. On top of all of the
Um,
emotional stuff, the financial stuff, you're also doing drugs with her and having to kick that habit. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to straighten out. Wow, this is a massive lesson because what you said in the beginning, red flags.
yeah,
You
we
know,
just we ignore him, and I was, dude. And here's the problem: like, I don't, and here's the takeaways. I don't blame her, right? Because I don't blame her because she was doing what she had to do to get from point A to point B, and I was
now
the
I'm not going to
vehicle.
let you get away with that. You know that, right? You know I'm
No, I
not
mean,
going to
let
let you
me
get
let
away
me
with that. How could you
come on.
not blame? Look, she's an adult. She has a child.
Look, you
That,
got me
that
doing my Trump hands. Like, you got to get from
she's
point A to
done.
point B.
She's
Okay.
done. She's done. Listen, listen, listen. Here's the thing. When you have a child, okay? That's a responsibility that it's an adult like responsibility, okay?
Oh no, there were a
There's no
million reasons.
excuse
Yeah,
on
yeah,
earth that I could ever acquiesce to for anybody on the planet, no female ever, okay? I can't feel bad for her because she has a child and she continued to choose to do drugs, to con people. Look, we're adults. We're not stupid. Every single person in this country, okay, even children understand that drugs are bad. So it's like if you have a problem, there are options. There are things that you can do. There is help from I mean, we're in America. We're everybody wants. I mean, go to any office. There's a Democrat somewhere, ready to save you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. There's no excuse for that. How could you actually feel bad for her? How can you make an
yeah.
excuse saying that's what she had to do? That's not what she had to do. She actually had a corporate job. That's what she chose to do. You feel bad for her still.
Bubby, can I get the floor now?
I yield the floor, as the saint and the sinner would say. Come on.
So I don't feel sorry for her. She's a demon,
But you're making
right? She's a demon.
excuses.
No, but she was being herself in her nature. I allowed that to happen by not protecting myself. You see what I'm saying? I am if I would have if I would have just left it at yeah, I got those people out. Good luck. I did my part. If you get out, you get out. If your stuff gets lost, that's fine. But if you don't want those people in your house, get them out. Dude, if I would have, right, at the time that
Mm-hmm.
I read those text messages while she was in jail, I could have surrendered her bond and been done with her. I didn't do that. That was on me. I knew she was bad.
But you don't make her you're not making her take any accountability for her own
Oh no, no, no,
actions.
she's terrible. She's a terrible human being, and she's gonna suffer until the end of time.
But so why then do you say that you do understand that she was doing what she had to do to survive?
Because men have to take accountability. Like we
But what about her? But you're not making her take
she's
accountability.
she's gonna suffer. She's gonna suffer her fate. She's suffering it now. The lawyer recused. All of that work that I put in is gone. Is gone. It's
Mm-hmm.
gone.
Mm-hmm.
And uh his dad is not gonna let her see him anymore.
As he shouldn't. She's on drugs until she
And
cleans up. I mean, that's a dangerous situation to put a child in, no?
yes,
And look, there's a lot
yes.
of people in the chat right now. Nate the Great, There's science behind addiction. Brandon, wow, congratulations. I mean, Brandon was addicted going on 6 years clean. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Right?
bro.
Because you guys
Awesome.
understand this. I don't really, it's difficult to understand from the outside. You know, somebody that I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't, it's very difficult to understand. And when you watch different shows like that intervention show and things like that, you wonder there is something to addicts constantly making you feel guilty, feel sorry, give them another chance. You see this all the time with parents who have children who are on drugs. It's got to be a very difficult position to be in. Very difficult position. I mean, I commend you for getting out of that mess. And everybody in the chat who's been in the same situation. Yeah, MD 999. I have an addictive personality, so I try to stay away from that stuff. Yeah, you and me both. It's like I'm glad that it's Pilates that I'll get addicted to, you know. But I get it. I get it. I do understand that. But you
Darius,
do feel
nice.
sorry for her a little bit. I think. Do you?
No, I mean, I feel sorry that her parents failed her, and her parents were drug dealers as well. Their house was raided. Both her parents were arrested during a raid,
There's something to that. But do you
and
still think that?
those are again those are red, bro. Like seriously,
Right.
if his
Right.
life is messed up, you're not going to save him, sweetheart. And her life is like just filled,
Yeah.
filled to the brim until you meet her, dude. You're not gonna fix it. You're not gonna fix it. And there's no amount of money. There's no amount of money that will fix that. It's not a thing that's gonna happen.
No, you're
I
right.
I I buried myself in debt for a woman that I thought that I could save, and I offered her my house. I brought her son back in her life. I I gave her transportation, communication through cell phones,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards, and I gave her free reign, and she immediately went to her default setting.
Yep.
No, there was no update that could save her from her default setting. Like
I get that. And look, you're noble for even telling this story because that's a lot to tell. Real
I
quick,
hope I hope
Darius,
everybody hears it, man. I hope
they're
everybody
hearing it.
hears it.
And
Like
look, people are talking in the chat. Darius Colman, I just hit 9 years clean on the 22nd. Thank you again for the super chat, Darius. Darius, congratulations. 9 years
congrats,
clean.
Darius.
9 years clean. See, you are inspiring people because there's a lot of people on the chat that you know have had a drug problem that have cleaned up. Okay, Brandon Mitchell, and hello, you're inspiring them to. I mean, I've been talking to these people for months. I've never heard of this ever. So clearly, you're an inspiration for people to
It's
come
just
out and talk about it, which I think is an
it's
amazing thing.
it's not so much about, well, it is to a certain point, but it's just a matter of how it, as far as a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are we ignoring, right? What have you been ignoring about that woman, about that man that you have been talking to? What have you been ignoring
Mm-hmm.
that you clearly know uh will lead you down barren pastures,
Mm-hmm.
right? And please just don't, the prison pen pal thing. Stay away from it.
This
It's
happens a
not a
lot.
thing.
This happens a lot.
It's just it's not a thing. Please stay away from it, please.
You know, it's interesting
Um,
because it's even when you're able to actually see somebody in prison and talk to them on the phone, it's weird, but some of the same types of feelings and emotions actually go into like people that are, catfished. The difference is it's worse because you're actually talking to them, you see them, it's an intimate thing for somebody to discuss why they're in jail or, open up like that. It's very manipulative, and it's shocking to me. I just was, doing a little bit of research on how many people this happens to, both men and women. Both men and women.
Yes.
Now, I will say
Yes.
this. I will say this, and I want to know what your thoughts are on this. Now, I don't believe that a person like you or I can change another being and get them to become changed and clean. Although I do believe that people absolutely can change. I absolutely believe that people can change. I haven't, one of my parents' neighbors, I found out recently because he was watching one of my podcasts that he was an alcoholic for like, he's much, much older. He's in his 80s. And he was an alcoholic for like 30 something years. And his wife was like, I'm leaving you. I'm done. She packed up. He said at that moment, he just decided to get clean. I didn't even know. He still goes to AA and talks to other people. He has not had a drink in like, I don't even know how many years. I mean, so if somebody wants to do it, you can do it.
They will. Yeah. I would like to say that, don't be part of the transition, encourage the transition, right? Because it's that person's journey to traverse, right?
Absolutely.
Don't be part of the journey, encourage the journey. Like, hey buddy, you got this, but if you're the one that's like, if you're the one part of the journey shoving them along, it's not going to work. They have to walk the path. So
I love it. Listen, I really, really appreciate you. I revere you for telling this story. I think it's an incredible thing and a noble thing for you to do, to be an example for other men out here. And everybody in the chat, thank you so much for your honesty. By the way, I don't know, Drew. I think I see somebody. I definitely. I don't even have access to the chat, so I didn't. Retract somebody's message. It could be YouTube. I think I'm on a list.
yeah,
but I definitely did not, delete any messages. This is a free chat. You can say whatever you want in this chat. Now, my messages get deleted a lot. So, I mean, within reason, people, please. Okay, we want to stay respectful in the chat, obviously. Okay, but I definitely didn't take anybody's chat out. Now, did you guys enjoy this show? I think there's a lot of people in here. Darius, we might have to do a panel and talk to Brandon and Darius about this. Yes. What do you guys think? Because you guys have been through it too.
I want to give a shout out to Alexa.
Absolutely.
Green is the new red. Darius, Brandon, Drew Boo, you're my boy. Brandon, U-Haul, always, Nikki, the usual suspects. The lineup.
The lineup. They all lined up for you. And listen, they waited for you for an hour. Thank you, guys.
Sensei Black said, respect to this guy. I appreciate you for that. Mr. Carey.
Mr. Carey, thank you for coming in. And he just moved. He's in a new home. I mean, these people went all out for being here. Tyrants Beware is in the chat. And don't forget, I am coming on your show, Tyrants, right? Are we doing a show? Am I coming on your platform on Sunday? I'll put that up in my community for you guys. So come over to Tyrants Beware Sunday at 7 p.m., I believe. Darius, Brandon, we got to do a show with you guys, huh? What do you think?
Hell yeah. Tyrants, I'm going to add you. Jesse Meeks.
Yes, Jesse came in.
I love all you guys, man. I really appreciate your and DiBRAVA. I got nothing but love. You're
Thank
my
you.
sister,
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Do me a favor though.
and
No more bail bonds. No more, okay?
oh, I need a. Hey, I need at least a.
Unless I get arrested from YouTube. I might
No,
need you to bail
no.
me out.
I gotta have another bad girlfriend. We need content, baby.
All right, well maybe we'll go be bounty hunters for a day.
Oh,
That would be fun.
That's a lot. And bounty hunting is a lot less exciting as you think it is.
Is it?
99%. Yeah, 99% of the time they're like, "Oh, you found me."
You're
Oh,
kidding
cups.
me. They're
And
not
then
like
go to
running
jail.
and you're chasing them down like a TV show.
It's not Dog the Bounty Hunter, man. Like a lot of people like "Oh yeah, like Patty Mayo, that freaking phony." And then Dog the Bounty Hunter was great. He's good, but he only showed like the fluff, the stuff
It's
that
TV.
sells.
It's TV.
I would say there was a guy that hid. We were waiting for the landlord to let us in, because the girlfriend wouldn't, but the landlord could because we had a PID, or positive identification, because his dumbass walked in front of an open window. So as long as in Tennessee we have this thing, if you have positive identification of the um, fugitive, you can go in.
Yep.
But my boss was being nice, so she's like, "Let me get in touch with the owner, so we don't break the door down and then grab him." So he let us in, and then we looked everywhere. He was nowhere to be found. So this is a guy that we know absolutely did not leave the house or the apartment.
Where was
He didn't
he?
go out the back, and clearly he didn't go out the front because we were in the front.
Was he in a suitcase?
This dude, okay, went under the kitchen sink. You know that little like part of everybody has that part of the kitchen sink that you open up where the down, the
pipe.
Fabuloso and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff is down there, right? So he shoved all that stuff over, shoved himself in a black garbage bag,
You're
and he was
kidding
hiding
me.
under it.
You're kidding me.
And the only reason why we knew he was down there is because he couldn't sit still for just 1 second. If he would have stood still for 1 second, we wouldn't have heard it. We would have went all along. Well, we heard it, and then we went under there, and he was out there. We had
that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
We had to taser him, and it was the craziest freaking thing.
See, some exciting stuff. It's all fluff on TV.
Dude, it's 1 out of like 99.
There you go.
It's the rest of the time we're like, "Yo, why didn't you go to court?" And they're like, "Oh, damn, you got me." That's really 99% of bounty hunting is just,
you have some good stories. You have some good stories. Well, I appreciate you. Alexa said, "Love yourself, man." Okay, Brandon, Darius, 999. I'm uploading some new beats this week, and well, it's about time because DiBRAVA asked. By the way, Drew, can you? I go into my community and I posted Tyrants Beware. He makes. First of all, the outro that I'm about to play is Tyrants Beware song that was made specially for me, by the way. Tyrants,
nice.
You are incredible. So props to Tyrants Beware. Everybody go follow him and check out his music. On top of the auditor stuff, check out his music. I don't know if Nikki is still here. Thank you so much for my mods. Drew Buru, I love you. Nikki, thank you a million times over. U-Haul. One kiss is all it takes. Possibilities. All right, I'm going to sing you more Dua Lipa next time, okay, U-Haul? Okay. Guys, thank you so much. All right, you ready? You ready to say goodnight? Chef.
Salud.
Peace out, guys. Check out this outro by Tyrants Beware. I'm DiBRAVA here with the chef, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Absolutely.
Light, Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip hop music, all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. Yeah, look, boy. DiBRAVA on the mic, speak the truth and light. I'm DiBRAVA, here to bring the news with a touch of comedy and a hint of blues. Culture Club USA, we're here to amuse, showing you the mirror, no time to snooze. Madness in the world, it's all around, but through hip-hop we'll break new ground. Speaking truth, making our sound in this crazy world, we'll stand our ground. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light.
Okay, we're good now.
USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop
How did that go? How was that?
You
God
are
damn.
awesome. You are incredible.
DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light.
Hold on 1
Culture
second.
Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, all weapon in
Hold
the
on, let
fight,
me just
bringing
make
meaning
half-
to the madness, taking flight. From the streets
Hold
to the
on.
stage, we'll make a mark. Spit in rhymes that ignite the spark. Speaking for the voices, leaving a lasting mark. In this world of chaos, we'll leave a lasting mark. Through comedy and music, we'll make a stand, bringing awareness to every land. Culture Club USA, we'll expand our message of unity, hand in hand. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. In a world full of noise, we'll be the voice, speaking for the people, giving them a choice to rise above the madness, find their own voice. In this hip-hop culture, we'll rejoice. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. So listen up to the words we say. In this world of madness, we'll find a way. Through hip-hop music, we'll pave the day. DiBRAVA and Culture Club USA, here to stay. DiBRAVA, with the mojo to Club USA, here to stay. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. In a world full of noise, we'll be the voice, speaking for the people, giving them a choice to rise above the madness, find their own voice. They'll rise above the madness, find their own voice. In this hip-hop culture, we'll rejoice, here to stay. Yeah, look, boy. DiBRAVA on the mic, speak the truth and light. I'm DiBRAVA, here to bring the news with a touch of comedy and a hint of blues. Culture Club USA, we're here to amuse, showing you the mirror, no time to snooze. Madness in the world, it's all around, but through hip-hop we'll break new ground. Speaking truth, making our sound in this crazy world, we'll stand our ground. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. From the streets to the stage, we'll make a mark. Spit in rhymes that ignite the spark. Speaking for the voices, leaving a lasting mark. In this world of chaos, we'll leave a lasting mark. Through comedy and music, we'll make a stand, bringing awareness to every land. Culture Club USA, we'll expand our message of unity, hand in hand. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music, all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music all repping in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. In a world full of noise, we'll be the voice, speaking for the people, giving them a choice to rise above the madness, find their own voice. In this hip-hop culture, we'll rejoice. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. So listen up to the words we say. In this world of madness, we'll find a way. Through hip-hop music, we'll pave the day. DiBRAVA and Culture Club USA, here to stay. DiBRAVA, but the move, to Club USA, here to stay. DiBRAVA on the mic, speaking truth and light. Culture Club USA, shining bright in the night. Hip-hop music all weapon in the fight, bringing meaning to the madness, taking flight. In a world full of noise, we'll be the voice, speaking for the people, giving them a choice to rise above the madness, find their own voice. They'll rise above the madness, find their own voice. In this hip-hop culture, we'll rejoice, here to stay.